Hello and welcome to Holly Interviews Danielle Brown MBE. This is a special interview for International Women's Day 2022. Hello, Danielle.
Hi, it's so good to be here.
Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me. For those of you that are watching this interview and you might not be entirely sure of what it is that Danielle's done before, she's a double Paralympic gold medalist in archery, 5 times world champion, and was at the top of her career, world first for the entirety of your career. Is that right?
Yes.
What a great list of accolades. You must be really proud of that.
Oh, I really am. And I think one of the things that I always like to point out, though, is that I do have a lot of sporting achievements, which was very, very exciting. But I think if you just look at those on their own, that only tells half the story. So there were a lot of challenges and barriers on the way, which I do think is really, really important to highlight as well.
Well, why don't you tell us about some of those challenges and barriers that you faced on your route to success?
Yeah, so I suppose really it starts with my love of sport. I grew up in a really sporty family, and I grew up very close to the Yorkshire Dales. So a lot of the stuff I did was all outdoors, lots of walking and cycling, camping, those kinds of things.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. Loved being active, but I became disabled as a teenager. So started when I was 11. My feet began to hurt after I'd been running, which was just a bit of an inconvenience at the time. But when I was 13, it was really affecting me quite badly. So I was struggling to walk, and it was really, really tough. And I had to give up all those sports that I loved doing, and it was really, really hard to access sport. So for me, that was like my first big challenge, was actually being able to find a sport that worked for me. And archery wasn't something I got to try at school. It wasn't something that I even realized was an actual real sport at the time. I know, yeah, you just kind of think it's something in history, don't you?
Yeah, or something you get to try out on PGL. It's not a school sport, is it?
Exactly. So it was like trying to find that sport, one that I could do, was really difficult, and it took me actually till I was 15. So I used to spend the 2 hours, instead of doing PE at school, I'd spend them in the school library, which wasn't the sort of the best experience in the world. But yeah, my 15th birthday, I started archery with my dad, and it was just amazing. Just so much fun finding something that I love doing, which was brilliant.
Wow. And then were you naturally good at it, or were you just really persistent and resilient and kept practicing?
Oh, I was rubbish.
I bet you were.
I would know. I really was. I couldn't hit the target to save my life, but it was just a lot of fun. So how I got good was practice. I loved doing it. I've got a very supportive family. My dad and we did it together. And a year later, my mum and 2 sisters joined the club, so we could all do it as a family.
Oh, wow. So a whole band of archers.
Yeah, no, it was really nice, actually. And growing up, sometimes I find that relationship with your parents, when you grow a little bit older, sometimes you don't always know what to say. So it was just so nice having something that we could all do together and we could all talk about. So yeah, that was really, really fun. But
did they still do some archery now, or did they do it at the time to support you in that being your sport of choice?
Yeah, we've all moved out of it. So my middle sister Helen, I will actually say all 3 of us represented Yorkshire, but my middle sister, she wasn't quite as naturally, like once we'd really taken off, she didn't take to it as well as my little sister and I did. She prefers more team sports, whereas George, my little sister, and I, we really loved the individual part of archery, so we got on with that a little bit better.
Nice. And were you all at school together, you and your sisters?
Yes, we were. So yeah, we obviously, I'm the oldest, and my Georgie is 5 years younger than me, and Helen comes in the middle. So we all went to the same schools and grew up together that
And
way.
what was school like for you? When you look back to your school days, how do you remember them?
Oh, I love school. Although I will say I wasn't very popular at school, but that didn't matter to me. I was naturally academic, so I think that helped.
Yeah.
I like doing the schoolwork. So the school system works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody, but for me, it worked. I was able to mold around it and learn stuff to pass the exams, which is, I guess, the important bit.
Yeah, that's what I suppose that's the outcome, isn't it, for
It is,
lots
yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
So I was in a school on Thursday last week, and I told them that I was going to be talking to you for International Women's Day, and they've produced a few questions for you. So are you ready for these?
I am. Let's go, let's go.
So class 6CWL from Brooklands Middle School in Bedfordshire. Shannon has asked, what things did your parents say to motivate you?
Oh my goodness. So my parents are amazing, and I was given two rules growing up. So the first one was there's no such thing as can't. And that's something I think you'll probably have heard. If you ever shout, I can't do it,
Yeah.
you usually get a grown-up coming along, goes, no such thing as can't. And my mum and dad were really strict with it. Like, I was not allowed to say the word
Wow.
which is really good, because even now I'm an adult, when I'm facing a challenge, I don't automatically think, oh, I can't do it, because my brain has been wired to think that there's always a solution, there's always a way around. So that's what I'm always looking for. So I'm really, really grateful for that. And the other message that they gave me was, do your best, like maximum effort. Like, if I'd have done something and I hadn't have won, or I hadn't have come away with it with a trophy or the best results or whatever it was, as long as I could stand there hand on heart and know that I'd done my absolute best, my parents wouldn't be disappointed in me. And again, that really helped in terms of my work ethic. And I think, yeah, when I was in London 2012, my mum and dad made me this lovely card, and it had pictures of me right from when I was a baby all the way through. And it just had this amazing message that just said, you've made the team for the Paralympics. That's an incredible achievement. Just go there, enjoy it, and do your absolute best. And I just think, yeah, those messages I had all the way through, right to elite level,
Yeah,
really helped.
that's lovely. I'm sure Shannon will enjoy that answer. Thank you. Maisie might be trying to catch you out right now. Maisie says, do you know how many competitions you've been in? And if not, when did you lose count?
Oh my goodness, Maisie, no, I don't know how many competitions I've been to. I think because there were so many, and you had competitions in the UK that you go to, and quite often I'd be doing them every single weekend through the summer. And indoors in the winter we had competitions as well, and not quite as often. So I'd just be doing so many events, and then you've got all the international ones too. And my goodness, yeah, I'd be out of the country, zipping around here, there, and everywhere. So I'm busy concentrating that, not counting them.
So if you had to guesstimate, if you had, what would you say, one on average, one a week, a year? How many years?
Oh, I was doing
Is your maths as good as your archery? My maths isn't.
Maths is always the subject I struggle with. Yeah, no, it's so difficult to say. I mean,
Do we say lots?
Hundreds,
yeah. Possibly thousands. And Casey asks, do you think imaginations are really endless? So
that's
a nice philosophical one for you there.
I know. Yeah, I do. I think that the human brain is such an incredible thing. And I think that we can dream all kinds of things. And you know what? I absolutely love working with children, because children see some really, really exciting big possibilities, which I love. I think if you can dream it, you can come up then with a plan on how to get there. And that's really, really powerful. And yeah, you can dream all kinds of things, you know, really creative stuff. You can have big visions, you can dream the past to actually get there. So totally agree that it is limitless.
Excellent, lovely. And your work with children, you're now a children's author, aren't you?
Yes.
So do you want to tell us about Run Like a Girl?
Yeah, so Run Like a Girl, I wrote because when I was growing up, I could name 2 female tennis players, and that was it. So yeah, well, I'm obviously a little bit older than you. So when I was growing up, that female athletes we didn't hear much about at all. And it has got better, which is brilliant, but we're still not quite there yet. So 2020, 7% of sports media in the UK was on women's sport. 7%. So that's
So disappointing, isn't it?
I know. It's really, really low. So there are so many amazing athletes out there that are doing brilliant things, and they're really what I find fascinating actually as well is about how women get seen and portrayed. And you know, women are kind of very stereotypically quite emotional or sort of very caring, but which is true, but men can be quite caring and emotional too. You know, I don't think it's fair to pigeonhole. So what I did was I wrote Run Like a Girl, which features all these athletes, and it had those amazing characteristics that get people to success, but some of the characteristics that aren't normally associated with women. So that ambition, that drive, that perseverance, strength, you know, sort of those really, really gritty characteristics that are really important for anybody of any gender to actually go and achieve success.
So it's not just a book for girls, it's a book for girls and boys.
Yeah, I mean, it does feature female athletes, but I think it's really important. You know, I've got male role models, men that I look up to and think, wow, they're really amazing, they're really inspiring. And I think it's just as important for boys to have female role models too.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And the more that boys and girls can have female role models, the more female role models we will see, hopefully, in mainstream media. Yeah. Do you have a favourite in the book?
Oh my goodness, right. So that's really, really
I bet it's hard to pick, isn't it?
Really hard to pick. Yeah. So I 50 athletes, and I wanted to make sure that they were from all over the world. And I wanted to make sure that there were lots and lots of different sports. So, you know, you got your adventure sports, you got your team sports, you've got Paralympic sports, as well as going to the Olympics and things like that. And for me, the thing that I think when it comes to stories of other people and inspiration, we're all inspired by different stuff. So for me, I love stories about overcoming adversity, you know, where somebody's faced a really, really big challenge and they've managed to get through it. That kind of really speaks to me. And that could be because of my background, you know, like I was explaining before, I've had to overcome these big challenges to actually get to my sports career. So yeah, for me, the one that really speaks is Yusra Mardini, who is she was a Syrian swimmer. And she represented the refugee team in both Rio and Tokyo. And she's just got this amazing journey of how she had to leave Syria as a refugee, how the boat broke down on the way, and she ended up treading water for 3 hours. I mean, that's absolutely insane. And she finally made it to Germany, and the people there just welcomed her and really supported her with the dream. And I guess it really helps me, you know, if I'm having a tough day and I'm like, oh, this is really, really hard. And you just think about people like that and what they actually went through.
They've overcome.
Yeah,
exactly. Absolutely. Really inspiring. We love the book in my house. My daughters, they're very young, so it's a lot of flicking through and pointing. But Willow, who is 4.5, nearly 5, we both love Menna Fitzpatrick, because I often show Willow pictures of me skiing, and it's kind of a life before having children, really, for me. But I find her incredibly inspirational. I think she has 5% vision, and you know, skiing can be quite a scary adrenaline rush of a sport anyway, but then to add like 5% vision into the mix, I just think how incredibly brave, and how much trust must you have in somebody to help you ski down a mountain when your vision is 5%. I mean, it's really, really, I find it really inspiring.
Yeah, I love doing the research as well. And you know, for me, I didn't realize I learned so much doing this as well. And I didn't realize how fast they go when they're skiing, and yeah, not being able to see as well. It was amazing.
Crazy.
So talented.
Yeah. So it's a great read. So if anybody's watching this and you're thinking that it sounds like something that you might enjoy, just go and grab it from your library, or order a copy, and have a read through these 50 inspirational women in sport, and run like a girl. Running like a girl is a pretty good way to run, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's something I want to do, because growing up, well, when I was doing archery, if some of the guys were having a bad day, they'd be like, oh, I'm shooting like a girl. And it's just like, well, why is that an insult? Women are doing amazing things.
Yeah, absolutely. So Danielle, it's been lovely talking to you, but before I go, I always ask everybody that I interview, who was your favorite teacher at school and why?
Oh my goodness, put me on the spot here. I had an English teacher at secondary school called Mrs. Royston, and she was just amazing. Like, I remember, I think the first lesson I had with her, she was really strict, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm quite scared of her, but she was just so lovely and really supportive and really passionate about what she did. I think that's really important. Having that energy, and it, I guess, really helped create and forge my passion for English and writing.
Lovely. I'm sure she's really proud of you, actually. I'm sure she has a copy of Run Like a Girl. She's probably at home thinking, look, I taught her with her copy. Danielle, thank you so much again for talking to me today. Happy International Women's Day to you. A hugely inspiring person, and such a pleasure to interview.
Oh, thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.